passion for Leicestershire.
BBC Radio Leicester.
They say, the difference between men and boys is the price of their toys. They don't always have to be big, flashy affairs either. Oh, no. They can be quite small. And the best things, they say, come in small packages, don't they? So we've decided to dispatch Matthew Smith, our raving, roving radio car reporter, off to Bosworth, Market Bosworth, in fact, and the Battlefield Railway Line, which is where the Vintage Toy Fair is being staged. We'll be linking up with Matthew very shortly indeed.
Tony Wadsworth.
BBC Radio Leicester.
And for as long as there have been trains on tracks around the world, there have been miniature toy versions played with by children who just wish they could have a go on the real thing. And while those traditional toys might take somewhat of a back seat amongst the modern gizmos and gadgets, train sets are still incredibly popular. Well, at Market Bosworth Station this morning, plenty of train fans will be gathering, no doubt, to see a collection of toy trains that span nearly a century. BBC Radio Leicester's Matthew Smith is there for us now.
Good morning again, Tony. Now, just 1 second. Just have a quick listen to this. Isn't that the most satisfying sound in the world? That's the sound of a model toy train blaring past. I'm here at the Battlefield Line station here in Market Bosworth, and joining me is Chris Simmons, who's one of the organisers of today's event. So Chris, just tell me a little bit about what's going on today.
Well, today, Matthew, we have a vintage toy train exhibition down at the old goods shed at Market Bosworth, and we've got various trains that date from maybe just 20 years ago, going right back to 100 years ago. So, and you've literally got everything, different sorts of, there's tin-plated ones, and there's plastic ones, and there's Thomas the Tank and everything. Absolutely. There's a bit of everything, because obviously trains have been made in all sorts of styles throughout the ages.
So, we're talking about toys that are some of which are over 100 years old, and we've got little kids here, a couple of years old. What's the appeal of these toys? Why do they last so well?
Because people like trains. It's as simple as that. They're fascinating to watch. A little life of their own, be they a little plastic one, a tin plate one, or the full-size one that goes chuffing past the station every weekend. People come to see it because there's a fascination about them, be they enthusiasts or just mum and dad with the kids.
I'll be back in just a second because I want to talk to one of those enthusiasts. I'm joined by Sam. Now, Sam, you're literally living the dream, aren't you? Because with your collection.
Yes, I am, Matthew. Part of my collection is obviously from the Thomas the Tank Engine, and also we have one of the models that was actually used in the Thomas episodes called Lakesider, which is a steam paddle boat.
Now, you're about the same age as me. You're about 25, 26. So you really grew up with Thomas the Tank. So why is it, it's stayed with you throughout your life?
It stayed with me because I volunteered down at the railway. Been coming down since I was 3. So trains have always been a part of my life, and therefore so has Thomas.
So tell us a little bit about this boat. This is an original boat from Tugs, which isn't a show I'm particularly familiar with, I have to say.
OK, well, Tugs started in 1988 and was made by the same people that made Thomas the Tank Engine. And a particular model called OJ, again, a steam paddle boat, was used in the one series that was made for Tugs. And then the props and models were then shifted over to the Thomas containers and were used in Thomas the Tank Engine ever since.
Brilliant, OK. Now, we mentioned that you were sort of living the dream in terms of your collection, but you're also living the dream in your job. Just tell me what you do.
I'm railway consultant for Thomas the Tank Engine as well.
The actual TV show, Thomas the Tank?
The actual TV show, of which the new series starts Monday the 3rd of June.
Little plug for that. So what does a railway consultant do on Thomas the Tank Engine?
The railway consultant basically has a look at the scripts and the animations and just gives gentle guides as to maybe things that need tweaking to make the show as realistic as it possibly can be, and also entertaining for the children.
Thank you very much, Sam. Chris, just follow me outside. So we're in the rail shed at the moment. We can actually see the train line, and we're expecting a steam train in all but a few minutes, aren't we?
Yeah, it should have hopefully departed Shackerston about 2 minutes ago and should be arriving here In about 10 minutes' time.
So tell me a little bit about the Battlefield Line station. It's still active and still working?
Yeah. At the far end of the line, where the train is coming from, is Shackleton, and Shackleton is basically the headquarters of the railway. It's built in 1873 as a way for basically export of really coal and clay products from northwest Leicestershire area down towards the south. And obviously it cuts through Market Bosworth, where there was a big livestock market, and we are standing in effectively the goods yard, where horses, cattle, sheep, pigs, you name it, would have been loaded on to trucks or taken off trucks and sold at markets or taken somewhere else to be, well, who knows, maybe eaten.
So if anyone's interested, if anyone's heard and would like to pop down to see some of the vintage toy trains, what's the details? What do they need to do?
What do they need to do? They can either come to Shackleton Station, they can come to Market Bosworth Station, or they can come to Shenton Station, which is at the battlefield, although I'm told that King Richard III is not there in the car park anymore this year, sadly.
Lovely. So if they pop down and they can make a double head of it, get on the steam train and come down to the vintage toy.
Yeah, just jump off at Market Bosworth when they reach Market Bosworth.
Brilliant. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, just before I hand back to you, Tony, is I was at a vintage car festival not so long ago, and just as I pulled up here, I saw something more exciting than any vintage car I've seen today. It is a brilliant red tractor. I'm obviously a big kid at heart. This is Bob, who tractor this belongs to. Tell me a little bit about it, Bob.
It's a McCormick International 414 diesel tractor, built in 1961 at Bradford. It's an American design. McCormick are an American company, and they built tractors over here in competition with Massey Ferguson, who were the big sellers of tractors.
Yeah. So, assumedly, this has been a bit of a labour of love for you because it's gleaming, so I can only imagine you put a lot of work and effort to get it into this condition.
It was partly restored when I actually bought it, but over the last couple of months we've finished it off, and it's still got a little bit of work to be done on it because the lights don't work at the moment. But
so not road legal at night at the moment. But...
No, it's not road legal at the moment at all because the lights don't work. Of course. And then it's got to be inspected and registered for the road, and then we'll be going on road runs.
Well, it's brilliant to see it. Thank you very much. See, Tony, you were under the mistaken belief that Ringo Starr's greatest work was with the Beatles, but if you ask someone my age, they'll tell you it was Thomas the Tank.
I know, and I can tell you a story about Thomas the Tank if you want me to.
Who's that an impression of?
John Lennon.
Anyway.